SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
I'm Steve Azar, and I'm on the other side of the microphone, meaning I'm asking the questions this time, and oh, have mercy for the airwaves. I spent 20 years in Music City, wrote and made some hits, traveled the world, and then moved my family back to the birthplace of American music and where the magnolia trees prosper. And now every time I put my feet on Mississippi soil, when I'm off the road, well, I'm at peace. On this show, it's all about hearing the stories straight from the mouths of the friends I've made along the way, their journey to success. Heck, there might be someone on, I don't even know, but you know how us Mississippi types are. We tend to take well to new company. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them. I'm Steve Azar. It's just like that muddy river, moving slow. Ain't no worries, it's how life goes, baby. In a Mississippi Minute. Hey folks, time for another In a Mississippi Minute. Steve Azar here, reminding you, as I always do, visit Mississippi.org, the place to go to when you're sort of stuck and going, like, what am I going to do this weekend? Where am I going to go? What part of the state am I going to dip into the water, into the soul? You know, it's alluvian, man. It's special stuff down here and all throughout our state. Go to visit Mississippi.org. Today's guest is no stranger to Mississippi soil. He is actually has a Mississippi soul, even though he's from Canada, by way of Atlanta. Lately, by way of Europe, he's been touring, but it's time to get him back down here for our Celebrity Golf charity event that he is always with his wife, Jody, always so giving of their time, and we love him. He's family. She's family. Unbelievable, world class, highly regarded as one of rock's most prolific drummers by far, for his work with the American heavy metal band Megadeth, to one of his own things, Withering Scorn and Eidolon. Yeah. I got to do it like that. To watch him play drums is something. I always say it's sort of athletic. He's a really good athlete, but you just look back there, hair slinging, but he's locked down in time. Reminds me of a lot of the best drummers in the Mississippi Delta that are always right on time, but they're just a smidge late. And it's just something about that. And he pounds that snare like there's no tomorrow. He recently was on a European tour. I want to catch up with him there. I always interview him right before our charity event. I always think it's a good time to catch up because we never get a chance to say much to each other because we're all going different directions. And I hear my name called at least 4,000 times. Steve. Anyway, he's always really respectful of that. But I want to catch up right now with my pal, the one and only Sean Drover. Hey, Sean.
How you doing, buddy?
How are we doing?
Really, really good. How about you?
Well, we're good. We've I've been keeping up with you a little bit. Sounds like you just came off the road from a good one. What happened?
Yeah, I got approached to play a 50th anniversary tour with this really big German band. Well, they're big all in Europe, most of the world, called Accept, and they've been around for 50 years. And the drummer and his wife just had their first baby. And he said, this was for a handful of shows. And he said, I really don't want to miss the birth of my child. So the leader of the band called me up and said, hey, we got a situation here. And would you mind stepping in and playing, a handful of shows? I said, absolutely. I was well versed with the music and loved the band. So, and I know the guys. And so we went straight to rehearsals in Nashville and jumped on a plane, flew to Germany, Norway, a couple of shows in Sweden, back home.
Are the guys from America or are they from over there?
Both. The band originated just out of Dusseldorf, Germany, and but now there's a couple of Nashville guys in the band. So they relocated to Nashville, which is odd for a German heavy metal band to do, but it's it's a great place. So they did, and good thing for me. I live just north of Atlanta, so it was just a short distance for me to get there. It was pretty convenient. It all worked out quite well.
We got a lot of relationships with a lot of folks, but for you, how does that all work out? Let our listeners know from your perspective. You get these calls. Is it your agent calling? Is it just a relationship that you had? They obviously know who you are. They've seen you play so many years or whatever, but how does that all come down?
Well, this situation, they just hit me up directly. I've known the leader of the band. His name's Wolf Hoffman. I've known him for many years, and we've been friends and stuff for a long time. So he knew he could trust me to do this gig if I was available to do it. He knew I didn't live too far away, and So, I mean, really, in a nutshell, to make the story short, I had to learn 18 songs, and a lot of them I knew. But as you know, to listen to a song and strum to it is one thing, but to get up there and do it, you have to know every single nuance and everything. It's quite another thing. So it's required a lot of woodshedding and remembrance on my part. But just jumping back in that, I did that for years. So once you get in there and get in the right headspace, it just becomes second nature for me.
Well, Nashville's known for charts, and people sometimes used to drive me crazy when I'd see charts on stage and all that. I know these jams that we do, when we do that, we'll see them because there's so many songs going down, and I guess you'd rather get it right than wrong. But man, charts, no, you got to remember it, except you do have a lot going on back there. And like, are you always starting all the songs? I'm pretty good about starting a lot of my songs, so it's sort of, that's how we roll. But for you as a drummer, you're talking timing. I mean, you got a click going? What's going on, like, as a reminder for you as the night goes down?
It's some songs that I would start, some songs the guitar player would start. You know what I mean? So it's really not a lot different from what you did. And again, a lot of that's just remembering the tempo. You know what I mean? I'm pretty good at keeping a steady meter.
Time out. I'm going to interrupt you. Well, you're more than pretty good.
Yeah.
We put a clock on you. You don't even know. We're just saying, is there anything going to happen sideways at all? But you don't go that. I mean, it's amazing. You're a human click track. It's crazy. But continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thanks. No, I mean, I have a pretty good barometer for there's not a lot of fluctuation from what happened in rehearsals to translating to stage, so I've always had a pretty good grip on that. And honestly, I'm so focused on my job when I'm playing live. Everybody goes, "Oh my God, how was the crowd? Were they all amazing and all that stuff?" And of course they are, but I am not paying attention to them at all. I'm so zoned in on my gig and what I have to do, and every song requires a different kind of, I got to do this in this song. You know what I mean? All these, I don't get a chance to enjoy it as much. Of course, you guys are all up front. You're right. You're this close to the audience. I'm back further on a friggin' big riser, smoke machines and bombs going off and stuff.
Yeah, you got all sorts of stuff going on back there. There's no telling.
So I really zone in on what my job requires and entails, and I take it very seriously. So I've been pretty good at that over the years. So, but yeah.
Did Jody get to go with you, or is this a solo thing?
No, it was, again, I'm jumping into a new situation. I didn't want to start, bringing the wife along and all that stuff. Although it wouldn't have, I would love to have done it, of course. But I said, let me do this, and if anything ever happens in the future where their drummer needs a break or something, they know that they've got me as a backup if they need me at any point. So,
seems like having a baby. What kind of excuse is that? What is that? I got to tell you something. I've had a baby and been on a plane within an hour after.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
I get it. I know. We missed, you and I have missed every single holiday, on birthday and
come on,
anniversaries, funerals, you name it. We've missed it. I mean, I get it.
It really is interesting how much we've missed over our lives, because we did miss all those things. I mean, that's one of the reasons I wanted to slow down and come home and be a part of our kids' lives before they left. And they left. When they left, they left. But
yep.
It was really interesting looking back at just so many things. I was so used to telling people no, and friends I grew up with, all these occasions that were going on, that everybody else is there, family. And I'm not sitting there feeling sorry for us. We were doing what we were doing. I'm just so glad that most of them understood. There were some that really, they didn't understand that. Well, I got contracts, and I can't leave. I got a lot of people. You and me were responsible for a lot of people and their lives. And so I remember a couple of times I was thrown off a little curveball, going like, "What are you talking about? You're mad at me? Don't be mad at me. We want to be there. It's just not going to work out." Or you could have looked at my tour schedule and you could have planned your wedding or whatever it was around our time. And, of course that didn't go too well.
Of course not. Yeah. But yeah, that's how it goes. I mean, and this is what we signed up for. So I don't regret it necessarily. I wish I would have been there for every single moment of my kids growing up, but this is what we signed up for. And this is what I think we were put on this earth to do. And, opportunity presents itself. You got it. You got to do it. And I don't regret a second of that.
No, I don't either. We'll take a quick break. We're no regrets. No regrets. Visit Mississippi.org. You got no regret there. The birthplace of America's music. My man Sean Drover is my guest today, and he knows all about the history of Mississippi, and I can't wait to watch him slinging his hair everywhere on stage at our 15th annual Celebrity Gotham Charity event. What a gift him and his wife Jody are for us. We'll be right back. Start today.
I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute. A missing scientist has been found dead in New Mexico, once again under mysterious circumstances. 53-year-old Melissa Casillas had been missing since June 26th of last year. She was working as an administrative assistant at Los Alamos National Lab, where the world's first atomic weapons were developed during World War II. Investigators announcing her remains were found by a hiker in a national forest about 10 miles from her northern New Mexico home in an area that had been searched before. A handgun was also found alongside her body. When Casillas vanished, her personal belongings, including her purse, IDs, and cell phones, had been left behind, and both phones had reportedly been factory reset. Casillas is one of at least 10 people with high-level access to sensitive U.S. nuclear and aerospace research who've either disappeared or died under murky circumstances in recent years, at least 3 of whom still remain missing to this day. State police say an extensive investigation into what happened to Casillas remains active. There's more on this story at foxnews.com or subscribe to the Fox True Crime Podcast. I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute.
Hi, this is here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
When I was 16, I knew everything. Opportunity grew on trees. If you've ever seen Sean Drover or never seen Sean Drover play drums, well, you need to be Googling right now. It's something to behold. It's a lot of work. Very, 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 very athletic guy. Really good athlete, good golfer. A good athlete growing up, but he takes that to the drum kit, and there's just so much going on back there, and he's right on time. I can tell you that every single time. Speaking about right on time, visit Mississippi.org, plan a road trip. There's a lot of wonderful places in Mississippi you may have not been to lately, and that's where you get to check it out. And you can go on the Freedom Trail markers, the Writer Trail markers, the Country Trail markers, the Blues Trail markers, all there for you. And as I say, the Blues Trail markers, you're going to end up in Liverpool if you're not careful. Visit Mississippi.org. All right, Sean, let's talk about this tour. First of all, my first cuts ever. It came at a really good time because they did well in Europe. It was a band called Hands on the Wheel. His name was Hans Rippon. And Dick Wagner from Alice Cooper and me got set up to write with him. I'd never known Dick at the time. But anyway, we wrote 2 songs. They both ended up making the record. And it was like a godsend at the time because a lot, I had publishing deals. You had to have something happen to be able to keep publishing deals and advance the ball. And this was in the early 90s. So it was a great thing. He was really, really, really good and was successful over there. How was everything as far as Europe over there? And I know you've toured in Europe a ton. I have not. I played over there a little bit and a little bit here and there, everywhere from Russia to Brazil, all over the place. But you've done way more European tours. What was this one like compared to the rest?
I mean, well, it was shorter. It was shorter because it was a handful of gigs. Honestly, it was really seamless and really enjoyable. I being in Megadeth for so many years, and I was such a tight run ship and organization and everything. And I think at this point in my life, I just turned 60, by the way, while playing. When we played a show in Stockholm, Sweden, I turned 60 years old. So that was a great birthday present.
See, you couldn't even be home for your own birthday.
I see what we were just talking about a minute.
That's right. Yeah.
I couldn't even make it home for my own birthday party. But no, I mean, it was a very happy, joyful, and seamless experience. I mean, they had a great crew. The band are great guys. Everybody's very laid back. There's no chaos or any kind of weird drama or any, I didn't, you don't know what you're stepping into ultimately when you join it or you join a new band or whatever the situation is, even though you can know them as friends. When you're going to work, it's a different thing, as but they couldn't have been nicer people. I mean, just right across the board. It was just a really enjoyable experience. And I think, again, at this point in my life, I appreciate it more than I did when I was in my 30s. Of course, I appreciated it, but I had a different mindset back then. And now I guess I think I reflect a little more at this point in my life. And I was just glad to be able to jump on a big stage again at 60 years old. You know, I was pretty much semi-retired. So
hey, don't say that word. Why would you say that? I would take you out of retirement. That you don't even. Second of all, I've done a lot of second of alls today. I think I've noticed. Maybe I do it all the time, but there's okay. Third of all, go back to 30 versus now. You keep talking about appreciating it. We didn't know each other back then. We don't know. I know that we had to have a certain amount of swagger and fight and grit and all that. But at the same time, I'm just curious about how it was for you versus now.
Well, I mean, it's on some levels, it was very similar, in terms of my job, in terms of what my job entailed, learning the songs back to front, woodshedding here on this iPad, going over this, my process is just, if I don't know a song, listen to it from beginning to end and remember it. And as soon as I don't remember that part, I start it over again to see how far I get and of course playing along the songs and stuff. But I need to be 100% prepared. The funny thing is, when we went to Nashville for initial rehearsals, they were like almost shocked, like how they're like, "Oh, you brought your A game, and you knew all the songs." I'm like, well, thinking to myself, well, of course I knew the songs. I'm here to do a job. I mean, I'm not going to show up and not be prepared. And that's how I look at it. I mean, I couldn't imagine going somewhere and not being prepared and wasting somebody's time, knowing that there's shows coming up in a month. So, that was similar to the Megadeth stuff. I don't know. Again, it's a lot of it's similar to what it was back in the day for me with the Megadeth stuff, and as opposed to the Accept shows I did. Well, I think knowing I was only doing it. I wasn't joining the band. I was going to help the band out and play a handful of shows, kind of be a backup. That kind of gives you a different perspective and a different appreciation for, let's go over here. I'm going to do a great job, but I'm going to have fun. I'm going to enjoy it for what it is, for a band that I've loved growing up. I've loved this band since 1983. I bought their first record. So it's like,
wow.
So it's not a new, for me, it's like, these guys I love this band, so.
Yeah. That cool is that? I mean, that's pretty cool, right? 83, you're a high school kid. Junior high school. Yeah. Sophomore.
Yeah. I was like 17 years old.
Wow, to get to do that. Mine is like getting to play with Charlie Pride. My mom used to tell me about, he used to come visit visit. He'd shop at their grocery store every now and then in his baseball uniform as a kid. And when I got to know Charlie all those years later, and we were doing the Opry together or whatever we were doing together, it was so surreal. Like, I mean, I was a little boy. I mean, I was 13, 14 when she'd tell me these road trips on Sunday from Greenville to Clarksdale to see her family and have lunch and all that. And I'll never forget. And then it was just like, this is wild. And he was so wonderful to me. He was so good, had such great memories about that. Anyway, you think about these people that we grew up and also, with Willie, you end up playing with Willie, you end up playing with Bob Seger. We played with all these folks that we grew up to, and we're going like, wow, it's just crazy, but it's a beautiful thing. The 30-year-old, I want to still talk about this, the human being that you were, compared to the guy that always gets ready and prepared and all that. We know that you're not getting called for anything if you weren't like that back then, preparation wise. But what about the person that you are? Any regrets, sort of any things maybe you look back and go, man, I could have been a little better of that, or have you always been like you are?
No, honestly, I don't really have a lot of regrets at all because, we've talked about this before. I've never had one drink before or during a show for real.
Yeah.
So I've always been completely cognizant of my job and the music at hand. I never went on stage and got totally trashed and destroyed a show and let people down. I never had any of that happen, which I'm very proud of. Getting in this lifestyle, it's real easy to succumb to all that stuff. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to what's your personality and how, knowing what this is, it's great to be able to play with Bob Seger and to play with Accept and Megadeth and all the stuff that we've done. But are you going to show up and take your personal agenda? Let's get blasted, or let's do drugs, or let's chase a bunch, whatever the case may be. I always took this, 30-year-old Sean, 38-year-old Sean is really not a lot different than I am now in terms of the whole musicality and everything what the job entailed. I never succumbed to anything bad. I never did anything that I regret musically. Certainly going on stage or in the studio. I mean, can you think back and say, I wish I did play better on this song? I wish I played, I could do this. Of course, you as a musician, you always want to strive to be better.
Yeah.
But I was always capable at what I did and was quite happy with that. But yeah, honestly, I haven't really changed an incredible amount to be completely honest with you from back then to now.
I love it. I don't think I have either. I'd like to think that I've even got more humble and more, because we get humbled along the way, but grateful for everything that goes good. Yeah. And appreciative for those moments. For sure. Sean Drover's my guest today. People think we're freaks, us music types are supposed to be the wild ones. And I'm going to tell you something. We're the most unwild people compared to a lot of folks that do other things in life. We won't talk about that anymore. Visit Mississippi.org. Check it out, folks. Plan a road trip to our Mississippi. I hope you guys are getting ready for a long weekend, a beautiful, just calm, peaceful Mississippi weekend. I'm Steve Azar.
I'm doing it right. I'm still trying to find my way.
Up to $20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
Your next customer is searching online right now. Will they find you or your competitor? If your website is outdated, slow, or hard to use on a phone, you could be losing business every day. SuperTalk Mississippi Media builds sharp, mobile-friendly websites that look great and work even better, and they're more affordable than you might think. We can drive customers to your new website with powerful radio commercials and targeted digital ads on Facebook, Google, TikTok, Hulu, and more. Call SuperTalk Mississippi Media at 601-991-2305 or visit stmmdigital.com.
From the In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, right here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Got one of the greatest drummers on the horn today. Coming off a European tour, Sean Drover, Megadeth, Idoline. What did I say? What did I just say? I can't get that right for nothing. I'm looking up at what's the band that Withering Scorn, unbelievable. I've talked to you many times about this. You joined Megadeth in 2004. Is that right? Am I right about that?
That's correct.
How about that? Okay, I remember it was in that little ball game of time. Tell me, you're joining the band with your brother. Now all of a sudden, y'all are basically half the band.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? Like really?
Well, my brother got the gig first. He got the gig about a month before I did. So I was beyond the moon thrilled for my brother that he got to join such a big, iconic heavy metal band. So I was just champion for him. I was just so happy that happened. And that came out of the blue. Somebody recommended him for the job from England, contacted their people and said, hey, you should check Glenn out, who, as a guitar player. And they emailed him out of the blue. So, and again, he just went into woodshedding and just like I did. But yeah. I got the gig 6 days before the tour started. The drummer didn't work out. And I just got back from Sweden recording the last Eidolon record. just got back. And he said, he called me on a Friday. He said, hey, man, you need to sit down. I said, what's the matter? What happened? He said, well, they just fired the drummer. They want you on the next plane. I said, dude, the show's starting in 6 days. So I was on the plane the next morning. I bought one of the records from the 90s. Remember back in the day, we had the Discman where you put, learning 4 songs on the plane ride to Arizona. I learned 4 songs that I never even heard, because I knew all the old stuff,
There's still so much that goes on in those records, the drummer's working and doing more than anyone, by far. It's like, so were you spot on? Did you get all of that the first show?
Yeah, we did. I think the first show, I think we had about 80 minutes down. So we were just short of a full 90-minute show. And, Dave probably talked a little more or whatever at the time. But, we had 4 days of rehearsal. And the 5th day, we were on a bus driving to Reno, Nevada. So, I was literally going through the songs on my Discman 30 minutes before the show started behind my drum riser, like going over the parts. And then my brother would have little cues. I go, look back at me and remember this part of the song coming up and stuff like that.
Two questions. So one is, did you have everything in order? Were y'all able to rehearse sort of what it was going to be like? So when you listened and you were listening to basically the show you were going to play, is that how you were doing it?
Yeah. We went to full rehearsals for 4 days. They were already rehearsing, but when they got rid of the drummer. So they are already set up for full blast rehearsals.
Yeah, because y'all were putting on a big production show. It's things that are happening during the show so much that you couldn't even think about slowing that down. Now the other question is this: did your brother ever tell you the discussion that they had with him? Like, how did it go down? And he probably was jumping out of his skin, like, I want it to be Sean. But how did that go down? The decision to get you.
Well, they heard when Glenn got the gig, they heard one of the Ivalon records, and that's how they knew that my brother could play. But they also knew that I could play because I played drums on that record. So when they basically, Dave said, they got rid of the drummer and he's like, do you think Sean can do it? So had it not been for that band, that band was never successful and by any stretch you imagine.
But it was for that.
It served a greater purpose where it got us into Megadeth. It got me ultimately to accept. It got, all this stuff comes from that. So
you never know who's listening, right?
You never know who's listening.
There you guys was Eidolon the first, y'all's first band that y'all did together?
Yeah, we released our first record 30 years ago, 1996.
96, right. And so they were just listening, and they're going, oh, I want that.
Somebody, like I said, somebody from England recommended my brother, and I guess they got one of the records, or I don't know.
Oh, I got you.
Fired, So, but they knew Glenn could play guitar, and they knew I could play drums because I played drums in the record. So it just, lightning struck twice. Ultimately, for us as a brothers who are musicians, it just I never could even fathom being in that band. It was all about my brother.
Brothers that are world class, though, is another thing. It's like brothers that are athletes that make it all the way to the pros is a very unique thing. But our father, son, it's a unique thing. It's just almost impossible even getting there, much less having a sibling that's there with you. Now, we see it, obviously, in sports and all that. But just to think that both of y'all were prepared to be in arguably one of the top 3 or 4 greatest true metal rock bands in the world.
Sure.
Being that prepared was pretty cool. I mean, how old are you? How young are you? 2004.
I was 38.
Yeah, 38. That's perfect,
so
38. You were a monster.
I mean, if you get presented with a situation like that, you either step up or you don't. And I didn't want to have any kind of regret. I knew I could do the gig. Ultimately, I would never jump into the gig if I didn't think I could do it, just for selfish reasons. So. Because if I didn't do the gig, they were going to have to postpone the tour.
Yeah. Oh, no. And did you, when you guys were just starting, and you get a sense if it's working, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're looking and they're feeling good. Yeah. I mean, I know the difference for me when I've had drummers that I'm like, no. You know it immediately. But then when it feels right, you're going like, oh God, it's the relief of the guy singing, you know what I mean? And the songwriter and all that. I can't tell you the difference between knowing, not saying that drummer wasn't great, wasn't really good. It just wasn't good for what I needed. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so you had to fit into this thing that was already created and big, and the fans and everybody had to expect what they were going to get was what they were expecting. Right. I guess I'm a little backwards. Really interested. The first gig, what did it feel like?
First gig was fun. The thing I remember most about that gig is there were no barricades. And I just jumped into the situation. So I just thought, and people were jumping on stage and stage diving. And Dave was getting pissed because, where are the barricades? But I'm just thinking, man, this is like an old school friggin' thrash metal show. Everybody's stage diving and smashing into each other. But somebody did not put the barricades up. It was a good show. We had fun. Everything went well. There was no train wrecks. I mean, it was, it went well. And certainly for the amount of time that we had to rehearse, everything went quite well. And every show just got better and better, and we became more comfortable.
Were y'all ever touring with another act support?
Sure. Oh, yeah. There's always other bands playing. That tour, I think we had a band called Exodus, which is another classic metal band from back in the day. But over the years, we've always had, I mean, there's been tons. You
guys in Metallica ever cross paths, play a lot together?
We did a big thing. It was called the Big Four, which is the Big Four, quote unquote, of thrash metal, which is Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. So the four biggest thrash bands ever. And finally, after 27 years of them existing, we all went on tour together in 2010 and 2011. The last show we did was Yankee Stadium.
Wow. The last show was Yankee Stadium.
Last show we did, we're the only metal band ever to play Yankee Stadium.
Did they do the thing about CMA, playing like CMA Music Fest and playing in the stadium and all that? They would put a clock on all of us, right?
Sure.
Did you ever see the clock in front of you while you're playing?
Oh, sure, yeah. Most of the festival gigs and most of the big gigs, it
drove me crazy. Yeah. I'm looking at the clock. So for people that don't know, we have these big, huge clocks that are staring at us, and they're counting down. So if you have a 40-minute set, man, the minute they announced you, that sucker, I said, wait, we're not even hitting the first note yet. Give us a second, and you run through this at night because you're going like, okay, how many songs can I get in with still being entertaining and still talking enough? And it's almost like doing impossible math. But because they'll cut, it don't matter who you are. They'd cut Willie. They'd cut him. Willie, you should have been done by now. So it's interesting. Let's take a quick break. Sean Drover and I are reminiscing. I'm getting a little bit sideways right now, which is a good thing for everybody. Visit Mississippi.org. Nothing sideways about that. Eat your way around Mississippi while listening to the music that changed and influenced the world. I am with one man right now from Canada who happens to be one of the greatest drummers in the world, Sean Drover. We'll be right back.
Finally home. I'm still trying to find my way.
Up to $20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
Listen and watch all your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi shows live and on demand. Listen to tons of music. Plus, get the latest breaking news from across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now. Right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Fertile fields of flatlands and hills raised by anything whatever a farmer can dream. Slug burger, shrimp bowl.
We got a very short segment left, and there ain't nothing short about the success and career of today's guest. One of the greatest rock drummers ever, Shawn Drover, and he mentioned something earlier. He used that word semi-retirement. It's like the Fonz back in the day going, I was wrong. Couldn't say wrong, couldn't say the word love. I can't not hear the word from you, Shawn Drover, ever again saying semi-retired. That's not good. Or maybe, okay, I'll give you 1%. You could say that, 1% retired. But I know that we're not going like we were. I don't know if physically we could do it. Let me ask you this. You look at Willie, and I think about B.B. King. We talked about Willie earlier. I think about B.B. before he passed. I don't think I've ever seen two guys work as much as them. It's almost like they didn't make a record and go on tour. They toured, and they'd slip in and make a record while they were touring. They never stopped. So you can imagine the miles that they have, and how has Willie's 93. He's 93 and he's still going. I mean, you think about that. I mean, have you ever thought about how long, now that I see that you're semi-retired, how long would you really like to go?
I mean, I'd like to go as long as my body can handle it and play the way I play. I wouldn't want to go up there and just be a shell of what I did when I was younger. I could still hit pretty hard. I mean, I proved that to myself for the Accept shows. I still had the same, amount of attack and stuff, so that I was happy about that, but as you get older, especially playing drums, I mean, it takes its toll on you after a while, and I would like to. I don't see any reason why I couldn't do this for another 10 years, at all. I have no problem doing it, and if the right situation presents itself, I would jump right in and get back on it to do it, so
you and Glenn, you guys do that. And then did Glenn ever thought about being a part of Act of Defiance, or is that never a?
No, because he had left Megadeth several years before, and he was heavily involved in his recording studio, records a lot of bands and stuff.
Yeah, I know he loves to do that. He's a big time engineer guy.
He was kind of more immersed in that, and he didn't enjoy the touring life as much anymore, so he didn't really want to do it, and but then we did the Withering Scorn. Once I stopped Act of Defiance with the whole COVID thing during COVID, so why don't we're not doing anything, why don't we do a record? So that's what we did. We did first Withering Scorn record, and we just put out the new one. We released it ourselves. Actually, here's the vinyl.
Wow, look at that. That's gorgeous.
Here, look at this, Steve, real quick while we got a second.
Look at
and I know you're gonna remember colored vinyl.
I love the red.
Isn't that nice?
Beautiful.
So, but yeah, again, with this, it's because we're not trying to, sell a million records or anything, because those days are over. But we still release music because we still love to create music, but we want the physical product still.
Now it's gotten back for that people want vinyl again. I mean, it'll be interesting if people go back to the flip phones. I don't know, or go back to no phone at all. I mean, the art of, the experience of grabbing a vinyl record. Remember the days. It's back for the kids and everybody that's doing it. You pull that thing out. You got to be gentle with it. It's a big, huge disc, bigger than any coaster we've ever seen. It could hold a whole slew of drinks. But no, it's and then the artwork, you see it, and it's you frame it, and the best ones are they're all over our house. The best ones, the ones that that mattered to me growing up musically,
of course.
And now that's back. I mean, vinyl's made a big comeback.
Yeah, I know, and I love it. And that's why we said, look, if we're gonna release a record, we have to make sure we doing CDs and it's online, but we wanted to do colored vinyl. We said we got to do colored vinyl, and we did. So we're real happy about that. But we still make music. We still love it.
My Kingsmen record back. I guess you can't see it. It's double vinyl, so the vinyl is like a really sort of a pukey green.
Yeah,
and then this real butterscotch, funky, dull yellow. And I just love them, man. It's like such a cool thing. And the first time that we ever we were doing 45s when we were younger.
Yep.
But they weren't making vinyl back then. They were selling CDs and all that. But I have a lot of 45s from even the early 2000s that they were printing A and B sides still. that we have. And of course, I have them when I was 14. And that is a funny thing. I'm not going to show you that one. You can imagine my little sweater, and, I mean, come on, I was doing it. All right. Well, listen, I can't wait to have you guys in town. When are y'all coming?
We'll be there on the Thursday. We'll be there
All right.
like Thursday afternoon, early afternoon.
You going to have bells on? You got your bells ready?
Absolutely. We're ready to rock and roll. It's going to be fun.
Oh, I love it. Well, we can't wait. And we appreciate y'all so much for coming as always. And, you guys are family.
We're glad to be part of it, man. 15th anniversary. That's a big thing, man. It's going to be great.
Have you been to every one of them, Sean? Have we known each other that long?
I think this is my 5th or
That's it?
5 or 6, maybe 6. I don't
How's that possible?
I don't know, man. It's how that goes. It's one of those.
Yeah.
You do certain events and then you meet certain people. And
Well, no, the first time we met you, we asked you. So you and Jody. I mean, you guys have been ever since. But it just feels like you and I have known each other a lot.
I know, right?
But hey, we caught up.
Yep.
On time. All right, Sean Jover, folks. One of rock's greatest drummers. Can't wait to have him on Mississippi Soul. Visit Mississippi.org. You guys have the best weekend. Blessings to you all. Later.
I'm Steve Azar. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them, where you can take your sweet time.
A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.